this morning? Yeah, doing all right. How are you? Have you experienced that before in an environment? Any environment, so a workplace or anywhere where it's your job to make sure the energy is in a good place. If you have, there's actually a couple tricks that you can use to really demand that engagement, because there's nothing worse than when you're trying to create an energy in a group of people, especially if your job depends on the energy you can create, such as customer service, sales, anywhere where your whole purpose is making people feel good. Then it's super important that you can demand that energy from the people that you work with. Step one to actually fixing the problem is, first of all, you have to know what to look for. You need to notice it. Now, there's a couple ways this can actually manifest. You might be in the car on the way to a very important sales meeting and you're trying to get the energy right and someone's sitting beside you really sapping it out of you. You could be having a very important team meeting where you're trying to get everyone hyped for a big day. Or you could even be in the locker room getting ready for a footy game. It doesn't matter where you are, being able to create that environment means being able to pull people up when they're draining the energy. Now, we've already talked about thermostat versus thermometer. Now, how do you have that conversation with people and how do you demand that energy? Now, step number one is you need to have that conversation with those people. But like we mentioned earlier, in building people's confidence, you can praise in public, but never give that negative feedback in a group setting, because you don't want to hurt their social status. You don't want to make them feel really bad in front of everyone else. What you need to do is have a private conversation. Really, really simple. Let's say you're in the car on the way to a sales meeting. If you notice something, even if you just pull over at the servo to get fuel or grab something, that's a perfect opportunity to just say, hey mate, can I have a quick conversation with you for a second? In that time, you can literally lay out what it is that you're trying to do. Hey, look, I'm really trying to create the energy. We've got a really important meeting that we're on the way to, and we need to be on our A game. I really need you to help me create that energy in the car before we get there. Now, it's that same concept that we taught back in First Followers, right? You need to recruit people and get them on side for what it is that you're doing. So again, those one-on-one conversations can make a massive difference and really help you create that energy and then demand the rest of the engagement for everyone else in the car, for example. Now, you can apply that to every one of those situations that we just discussed, right? Maybe it's your team meeting, maybe it's a locker room. Doesn't matter where it is. Make sure that you're recruiting those people, and anyone that is bringing the energy back, make sure that you're having those private conversations with them to get them to buy in to why the energy is so important. Now, it's not always going to be easy to have that conversation. Sometimes the biggest thing that's stopping us from having that conversation is we're afraid of how that interaction is going to go when we give that person that negative feedback. One of the easy tricks to make that happen and be able to deliver that feedback effectively is just ask for their permission. What that is intended to do is you want to lower their guard and have them actually open to listening to what you have to say. It's as simple as when you're pulling that person aside saying, hey, do you mind if I give you some feedback? Is that okay? Really get that buy-in from them. If they do say no, that's okay. Try again later. But the idea is you want to have as many opportunities as you can to have those conversations and get that buy-in. Now, talking about buy-in, the most important thing to get anyone to agree with an idea is to make it their idea. So how do we do that? Well, if you remember back to our teaching concept, it's literally starting with why and getting them to agree on why it's important. From there, you'll be able to help make it their idea. So let's go back to the car analogy. You're on the way to that sales meeting. Super important. You get them aside and they drop their guard down and they say it's okay for you to give them that feedback. Again, just explaining how important it is that we're all at our A game, we're all high energy, and we're making the newer guys in the team feel excited because they're nervous at the moment. We need to be up in the energy and turning those nerves into excitement and getting the entire team ready for the day is going to be really important for the success so that we can achieve the results that we need. Now, again, I'm sure you can align that with our interests to make sure it's in their best interests that the entire team has a good day. And lastly, make sure you've got really clear agreements that you can pull that person up again if they slip into their old behaviors. Really simply, just making an agreement at the end of the conversation. You don't mind if I pull you up again? Is that okay if I notice that you start to slip? Using this one trick will make sure that you can continue to demand that engagement when you're in a group setting.